Hello, this is Elizabeth.
This is Priscilla.
And welcome to
the Life Chit Chat,
where we discuss life, adulting,
and finances.
So in today's episode, which is our first episode, if you're watching this, we are so much glad to see you here. Don't forget to subscribe, turn your notifications on. We post every Friday afternoon. So as you start your weekend, we are starting the weekend with you.
Starting the weekend with you is always our pleasure.
Today we are talking about
adulthood generally. We're talking about how we want to sell it off, any buyers,
any takers. It's fairly
on a discount.
New. The discount is very big, like up to 80%. So adulthood for sale.
I want to be adopted.
Anyone who wants a 20-something bouncing baby girl.
You can say almost 30.
An almost 30 bouncing baby girl. We are talking about the expectations of society as we adult versus what we are willing to offer. Not willing, but what we can offer.
Actually, could ground.
The
reality in it.
What can we offer as young adults?
When we are growing up, most of the times we have this fantasy. When you're 14, you think you're going to...
fantasies at 14?
Not the kind of fantasies you're thinking about.
Okay.
Oh, you're so weird, man. No, you have like these expectations of adulthood that everything is going to be, you're going to be probably a lawyer, doctor, or whatever. You're going to have a car, but then you grow, and suddenly growth or adulthood, the expectations you had or the dreams are not what is actually on ground, or the life doesn't happen the way you expected it to happen. So,
but also at 14, what did you anticipate that your life would be like?
Wow. Right now, I'd be having like 2 cars or something. At 28, I thought I would. By the time I'm 28, I thought I would be having a master's degree or a PhD.
Oh.
But then here we are.
PhD?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to finish your bachelor's? It took her 6 years.
I can explain. We'll explain that.
Okay, so when did you realize that adulting has hit in? Like, this is it. I need to be an adult.
I think when I finished high school.
What year was that?
Well, we're talking about years.
Almost 30.
I think that was when I realized I'd become an adult, because I remember I had not gotten government or anything like that. So it was, now what next? What are you going to do? How are you going to go to school now that you don't have? Is there any plan of you getting finances? And I was told when you're 18, whatever the person who is helping you, or whether studying or whatever they're doing you a favor. Because now
why are your parents doing you a favor?
But I don't know why this is all about me.
It's much more interesting. Her life is really interesting, you guys.
My life is interesting, but some of those things can take you to therapy. To be honest. So of course, saying that, why were your parents doing you a favor? First of all, the parents had to be there to give that favor. They were not. So
they're no longer with us. They left that.
But Elizabeth, I would like to know when Elizabeth decided that this is time I'm an adult.
For me, when it really hit me, like, this is it. You are on your own. Like, completely on your own.
Yeah.
Was when my sister chased me. This morning, I was in a taxi. After packing my things, I packed some things that I could carry, and I was in the taxi to my friends. And I sat in the taxi. I remember I sat on the window seat. I looked outside. That's when I shed a tear.
You guys are surprised that Liz can cry.
I am a very big cry. In the movies, I cry so much. For love, guys, I cry.
Liz cries for love.
Don't break my heart. So as I sat in the taxi and I am seeing I cannot go to the village to my mother's because what was I going to go to do to the village? So my life had to start. Like this was it. I could not be at that point, and I'm like, oh, I can always come to my sister's because that was no longer an over. So before that, when I finished school, which is going to be a story for another time,
Yeah.
I always had this thing. If anything failed, I would go to my sister's. But at this moment,
You had to begin life in Kampala.
in Kampala, with zero money, no, they gave me transport to take me to the village. So I had some money on me, but
Surprisingly, I have a story like that. If I tell you my stories, you guys.
so that was the time it hit me like, you have to adult.
Was that after campus? Like,
No, it was after campus, like a year after campus, almost a year after campus, and I did not have something tangible that I was doing by then, and literally I had to start life from real scratch, like the realest scratch.
I also have a story like that of a sort, because me, I had to realize I was an adult so many times. Like, so many.
It was just hitting you
In
here and there.
here, like, simultaneously. That was a time when I finally left my auntie's place. She always had these things whereby she says, "Oh, you can pack up and go back to the village, and then you have to apologize and do all that." So this time around, I didn't apologize. I just packed my things because I realized that the longer I stayed here, the more time I would waste.
At what point was that?
At that point, I remember I was at campus, by the way, but then I had missed exams because I had not paid tuition. She's like, you have to go back. Every time she would like pack, leave. So this time around, I didn't apologize. I was like, this is it. There is nothing I'm getting from here. Like, I am not studying. I'm missing exams, and I am tired of the manipulation of like, you go back to the village. So that time,
You can stay because I'm doing you a favor and looking after you.
yeah. So what I did, I just packed my things in one bag. I remember it was such a big bag. Actually, I had packed that thing a long time ago. I'd packed
But
it
just in case.
just in case. I just, like when your mind has already packed, you're just waiting for a chance for you to leave. So I packed. I remember I left. She was like, "Oh, you're leaving. You have accepted to leave," because she knew that I would always apologize, even when I know it's not my fault. So this time around, I didn't. So for her, she was like, "Wow." So I think by the time she drove me to the bus park, she thought I would change my mind through that, but I just kept quiet.
She actually drove you to the bus.
Yeah, she drove me. You know where Kalita is as you're moving up to Link. There is another bus going to Fort Portal called Kalita. So she was moving up that road. So she left me there with my bag. She was like, "So you have decided to leave?" I'm like, I just kept quiet. And you know what silence means. She gave me transport. So I was like, okay, it's fine. If it's my time to leave, let me leave and go to the village and start all over again. I remember I went to the village. Now another whole story.
A lot of stories. Like I said, that life is pretty interesting. So as we go through this, as we realize that we're adults, like the adulthood has kicked in, we have to face this thing head on. What do you think are the expectations of society, families, of maybe what you should have done by 26, by 27, after finishing your bachelor's, you finished campus?
Of course, people have high expectations, very high expectations of you. Sometimes you wonder and you're like, what made this person think I could actually manage to do this? Like
Like manage to get your sister a job.
Yeah. Like you're barely surviving, and then people expect you to already maybe have a family or kids. Come on, guys.
I mean, why don't you have a job 2 years after campus? Why are you still struggling? Why you studied engineering? I did computer engineering. Meanwhile, what did you do?
Guys, all I can say is that I'm a veterinarian. Okay, I did animal science.
You know what people usually tell me, because tech is so easy since remote work is now on the rise and so on. And people are like, but Liz, why are you doing social media? Yet you have a computer engineering degree. I'm like, it's not what I want. Yes, I did it, but
And on that same note, most of the times it's very rare for us to study what we want to do. It's like we have to first study what we are given and then later on realize what we want to do.
the expectations that people and family have, mostly in an African setting, is really too wild. Too wild. We shall talk about the black taxing later on.
Wow. Wow. You guys. Like immediately you finish like school, people want you to get a job so fast so that you can begin paying back.
Yeah. You did not educate me because I'm your kid or whatever, but you were investing in me so that I give back to you.
And I think that's where the problem comes in. Most of African parents, people don't secure their futures. Parents always pay fees so that the kids can look after them. Some people are going to look at us in a bad face.
Yes,
they're going to be
course.
like, why wouldn't you look after your parents?
Why are you selfish?
Why are you selfish? But you have to understand that sometimes parents' expectations, you can be in Kampala and you have nothing to eat, but then they're asking you for this and that. People have to send almost half of their salary to their parents, half of it.
Actually, sometimes more than half.
More than half. And the entitlement. The problem is not helping your parents. It's not a bad thing, but your parents, your relatives or people who looked after your guardians having entitlement towards what you're making. There are people who have been looked after by guardians. Now they have to look after all the kids of the auntie or uncle who paid for them, and they have not yet even started anything for their own, because now this one educated you because you are the eldest. Now you have to look after all his kids and you can't say no because it's like you're paying back a favor.
Yeah. In all this, it comes to a place and a stage where people say, people have gone through this. People have families at 23. People have jobs. People are working in ministry. A lot of my former classmates are working in ministry. And they're like, why are you whining?
Yeah, why are you whining about adulthood? Every time you're always complaining, we're tired.
Tired. It's you who is posting on Monday that the day has refused.
Monday to Monday, every Monday, a day has refused.
And everyone is going through the same Monday.
And everyone is going through the same Monday. People are getting married over the weekend and happy. You don't post ever anything whereby you're thing. So you're always sad, pathetic. that thing, it's the one that brings in comparing yourself to others.
Yeah. If you're not serious, by the way, that's part of adulthood from finishing campus and like 2 years after campus, comparing yourself with the people that had a head start might really take you out.
Yeah, and sometimes people be like, why are you saying that people are favored because they had a head start, or people are favored because they have maybe a family? These things determine a lot, because if you don't have where to sleep, for example, Elizabeth,
emotional damage.
Yeah, if you don't have where to sleep, you're looking for a job. At the same point, you don't, because during that period of unemployment, it's like right now you're living freely on someone else's rent, on someone else's food. So if you don't have like a family, You go look for a job, come back, or whatever you're hustling with. For some reason, you're beginning from, like, she began from scratch, you guys. Yeah. You begin from scratch, and then there are people who have, yeah, that
supportive
a
family.
supportive family.
Like friend of hers, they're over 30, but they're staying with their dad.
Yeah,
They've been working. They make good money,
yeah, they do.
but they don't pay rent. Possibly they don't pay a lot of in-house expenses, food. But if you are on your own,
Also, sometimes you can be favored in a manner like that, and you still don't take advantage of it. Yeah. So you be so guarded, you don't understand how the world outside is. So I don't know whether it's an advantage to hustle in the street and be sweet smart.
no, there's
We're
no
not
reward
going
for hustling.
Yeah. Yeah, guys.
If you can get a shortcut, please take it.
You guys, there's no
Take it.
reward for suffering.
There is no, they're not going to crown you that this is the best sufferer.
On that note, you guys, on that note, if a man comes with money, please take up the opportunity.
But don't say, okay, please.
But talking about that, being the okay please person is that since you don't have anything to offer,
yeah,
or anything of your own, not specifically offer whatever, because some guys will, if someone likes you, they don't care about what you're going to offer to them. But the problem is,
tags my banyankole men. Anyways, as we talk about the whining of adulthood and so on, and if you didn't want to whine, you're in a situation that you did not want to whine about, what is that situation that made you feel like I need to call home and maybe go home? Actually, for the people that have the comfort and the luxury of being like, oh my goodness, let me just first go home and have a talk with my mom and maybe sleep at home, be cared for. What is that one adulting situation?
Guys, all I can say is that for me, all I can say for myself is that I am always at a point of no return.
I mean, you have nowhere to return.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Like when you say I need to go home and rest, and I talk to someone, you have to first of all have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So now, if you don't have that person, even though you have relatives in the city, if you go to see them, they will not understand why you are there. Why, you would want to rewind and reset or whatever, but it's not like the same thing that you would do if you went back home to your mom or dad and you told them, you see, this is what, because that's what we're trying to talk about right now. So now, if you don't have the luxury,
and you've not had that background of, I can talk to my parents about literally anything.
So, wait, some of you have parents, guys. Some of you have parents. And you can't go back to them. I'm not going to talk about that this time around. You can't call them. They can't call you. Wow.
But at least we have them.
Yeah, I have them. What?
Guys, short commercial break. We are here to introduce to you a brand, Farm Ville Ghee, premium quality, authentic, fresh cow ghee around Kampala. Actually, wherever, but we are based in Kampala, Chisasi. You can find our ghee in Tindat Community Women's Enterprise Network on Chambogo Road, opposite Seven Hills Medical Center. This ghee, if you don't like it, come back and pick your money. As we go through all this adulthood and so on, I want us to talk about the support systems, the various support systems that we make it easier to go through this adulthood thing.
There is something I was thinking about, like Sometimes if you don't like if you don't go to church, yeah?
Adulting has turned into a prayer
You
warrior.
guys, if you don't go to church, you go to the club. Actually, the club is not bad, but you will just drink yourself to nothing. So for me, as me, other people, yeah, they have their support systems, but for me, it's you go. She said you go home. For me, I go to
No,
church.
but support system differs because you have your friends
Yeah,
that are very, very tight with you. They maybe know what you're going through. That kind of friends.
yeah, I do have friends. I do have friends that because as we said, adulting, most of the times they are not in the same. Because you see, you would want to vent to someone, but they're also not in a space to vent to because they're also going through their own thing.
This kind of brings us to our workmates.
Yeah.
If you're fortunate enough to have found a conducive work environment where the people that you can talk to that mostly like
Shout out to all the workmates that became friends.
yes, and the ones that left us the moment we left the job. We see you. We see you.
Muriye movie. We are not we are not friends, we are colleagues.
We are colleagues. But actually, talking about this honestly, yes, they say your workmates are not your friends, but you know your workmate can be your friend.
Yeah.
A really, really, really good friend.
Yeah.
I feel like workmates could easily make better friends because you see these people very often. It's easier to talk to them because mostly your life is so occupied with work, and most of the inconveniences come from work, and they would understand better.
You have levels you can relate to
Yes.
each other. The only problem would be if you guys are in competition with one another. Our workmates can make very good friends and support. We have been with them, they know our stories, we have talked to them, we spend most of the hours with them more than the people who we went to school with, who are friends from school. So, and sometimes, when you're talking about adulting and friendship, it's so hard to organize a meeting or a hangout
with a friend that is out of your work.
Yeah, because most of the times we're like, okay, can we do it on Tuesday? Can we meet on Wednesday? Can we meet on Saturday? Today she was supposed to meet another Priscilla.
Anyways, we talk about that. So I was talking with my friend. She has a group of friends, and she posted a picture where that friend was, and it has been long without seeing pictures of them together. And I'm like, hey, I miss her. It's been long. You guys have not been posting her because I'm friends with most of them in the group, but not that one friend who is lost. And she's like, oh, she has a really bad schedule. She works mostly nights, and for us when we are out of work, she's just going in for work. So it has become so hard to hang out with her. So that's why there are no pictures of us. Me asking about the friend. I actually love to see people hang out together. Like, yes, that's good for you. You're building your bonds, you're networking, you're doing a hobby together.
It's
good
like seeing
for
those
you.
pictures on Christmas and Easter with your
Of which you cannot relate to. Anyways, I also grew up in a home that doesn't celebrate holidays really.
Some of you have your parents and all that, but you guys don't have love.
When did you last talk to your sister who is in another district? When
you don't have love.
Anyways, all these expectations and the demands that we feel the society, our families pushing onto us, what are the things that you feel you've gone through that?
I wouldn't say gone through what you're actually experiencing right now.
But aren't they going it through now?
Some people are going through a lot.
With this adulting, take it with ease. Give yourself grace
and kindness.
Yeah, because one man's
Mistake, the philosopher,
Mhm, the philosopher.
is another man's favor.
Is another man's
So,
favor.
and also let's avoid comparing ourselves to others. Let's take our baby steps. Everyone has their own story. So, your story is different from another person's story. So, be patient with yourself. Be kind. You're doing the best you can.
You're doing the most. Thank you for watching. Next Friday, same plus,
Same time.
with
Priscilla
and Elizabeth.
on the live
Live
chit
chit chat.
Thank you. Bye.